It was supposed to be something. Here's Jeremy, the always fabulously dressed science and technology editor from foxnews.com. Offensive video games, the subject today.
Yes, indeed. Taking something very fun, video games, and making it, well, inappropriate, dangerous, horrible on a lot of levels.
You sound suspiciously like Lynn Cheney. And I'm not sure you want to sound like that.
Not at all. She has a much higher voice, for one thing, and I personally love video games, so it pains me to have to bring this issue to light. Let's take a look first at this video game called Smuggle Truck, okay? Smuggle Truck Operation Immigration. Created a big stir yesterday. The news came out that this company wants to release this video game. You have a little picture of it. Looks like fun, right? It's designed to be an iPad app, and you're driving this little jouncing little truck, and you want to smuggle immigrants across the border.
It's about smuggling illegal immigrants?
Yes.
Wow.
And now,
wow.
And to be fair, the developers behind this said that they wanted to do this to underscore the plight of people who have to cross the border illegally. It's a challenge, it's difficult, it's hard, and of course that's a fair issue, but does this take this dangerous situation and make light of it? Is this really appropriate?
Is there a cop in the video game who's allowed to ask the characters for their ID?
I think
only if it's based in Arizona, I believe.
Okay, I was just curious.
It's more about how safely can you drive this truck across the rocky terrain, and sure, it might be fun to play, but
so it's a question of taste.
This seems tasteless.
Right.
This seems quite tasteless, and the immigrant group's supporters are not pleased about this.
Right. And another one you've got, Bulletstorm, is that right?
Yes. So Smuggle Truck, well, innocuous, is distasteful. Bulletstorm is a new game coming out on February 22nd, and here we have a screenshot of the website for this. And arguably, this is one of the worst games ever created. Okay.
Worst in what sense?
Well,
offensive worst, or technically not very good? Or
technically, it's probably going to be a phenomenal game. The technology behind these things keeps increasing at such exponential steps. It's probably got great gameplay. It's probably an awful lot of fun. Allow me to read you a quote from the rating that this game has gotten from the ESRB, which is the ratings board that labels all video games, in theory, allowing parents to judge for themselves whether it's appropriate or not. And I'm going to change some of the wording because, frankly, the rating itself is inappropriate to read.
Wow.
The dialogue contains numerous jokes and comments that reference sexual acts, venereal disease, and having sex with one's relatives. The names of some skill shots...
Wow.
It's gross. The gist of it is that there are these skill shots, which basically you kill people in extremely violent ways. In the head, you shoot them in the buttocks, you use chainsaws to dismember them. And each of those skill shots is associated with a sexual act. So they have these terms that are just wildly inappropriate. Not to mention the fact that people are cussing and swearing throughout the entire thing.
So but the problem here is, I mean, one assumes that you can make a video game as offensive as you like, it can have whatever you like, but the issue here is kids getting their hands on these games, presumably.
Precisely. And while...
And how is that regulated in the video game industry?
Well, it's self-policed. There's this ESRB, they rate the games, and in theory, parents go to the stores, and based on the rating, you choose to buy it or you choose not to buy it. And store clerks, in theory, aren't supposed to sell the games to minors if it's an inappropriate game, but there isn't really any law that prevents them from doing so, and there aren't any penalties if they don't do so.
Oh, really? So if a video game store owner sells this Bulletstorm, this seemingly very offensive game, to a 10-year-old, there's nothing wrong with that. 10-year-old walks in with the pocket money, says, "I'd like Bulletstorm, please."
And
there you go,
Sonny. And we find out about it, and there's no slap on the wrist. There's
absolutely nothing.
Gosh, we wish
That's
you hadn't
extraordinary.
done that. Well, so there's a law that the Supreme Court is going to look at this year. A new California law makes it illegal for a merchant to sell these games. So there is a law in California that's going to be looked at. Okay, what's the name of this group here? The Entertainment Consumers Association has been pushing to repeal this law. They say, parents should really be making these regulations and making these judgments for their kids.
Right. Lynn?
This is fascinating. I was watching my nephew play Monopoly over Christmas, biggest selling board game in history,
sure.
And watching the joy he took in taking the hotels and taking the property away from his brother and his friends. There was a little robber baron in the making there. It was really fascinating.
But at least it's good, clean fun.
Well, maybe, but it is interesting to think of how culture, affects the mindset of children before they could have an understanding of history and social, society.
Mark, what's your take on these videos?
Now I know what I'm getting my 3.5-year-old nephew for Christmas.
The Bulletstorm. You'll be a very popular uncle,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Oh, well, you know, I am...
Have Mark Geo over as a babysitter, whatever
yes,
you like.
I'm for small government and for the government staying out of people's lives, but I think this is an area that maybe we should look at a little bit more, because if a 10-year-old kid can walk into a store and walk out with that game...
I think a lot of our viewers would be absolutely stunned, Jeremy, that there is no legal enforcement
pretty scary.
here. That's amazing. It would never have crossed my mind that there was no enforcement.
And according to some of the experts that we spoke to, kids as young as 9 are playing games along these lines.
Wow.
And robber barons coming from Monopoly, sure, that's great, but I don't know, psycho killers coming from other games, maybe not such a good thing to be training our kids at.
Wow. Okay.